Why do rivers curve instead of flowing straight? At first glance, a river looks simple, water finding the easiest path downhill. But walk along any long river and you'll see it twist and bend like a lazy ribbon across the land. Why don't rivers just run straight from A to B? The answer is delightfully messy, an interplay of physics, sediment, time, and a river's own restless behavior that turns straight channels into sweeping meanders. The first bend, a small imperfection with big consequences. Rivers begin where water collects, on a hillside, in a spring, or from melting snow. Early on, the channel may be roughly straight, but nature is never perfect. Tiny irregularities, an obstacle of rock, a patch of dense vegetation, a slightly different slope, push the flowing water a little to one side. That small nudge triggers a chain reaction. When water is forced against a bank, it speeds up there and slows down on the opposite side. Faster water is more energetic and carries more sediment. Slower water drops sediment. This simple difference in speed creates two distinct zones: the cut bank, where the river erodes, and the point bar, where it deposits. Over time, the cut bank is worn back and the point bar builds outward. A tiny kink becomes a curve. Repeat this process downstream and the bends amplify. Helicoidal flow, the river's secret swirl. Under the surface, the water's movement is more complex than left versus right. Flow develops a corkscrew-like motion called helicoidal flow. Water hits the outer bank, spirals downstream along the bed, then rises and crosses over near the inner bank to deposit sediment. This three-dimensional swirl concentrates erosion on the outside of bends and deposition on the inside, reinforcing the meander shape in a self-feeding loop. Think of it as a natural sculptor. Erosion chisels the outside of the bend, while deposition sculpts a sandy beach on the inside. Over years and decades, the bend grows, migrates laterally across the floodplain, and sometimes swings so far it cuts off entirely. When bends get dramatic, Oxbow lakes and cutoffs. One of the most dramatic outcomes of meandering is an oxbow lake. As a bend becomes more pronounced, the neck of land between two close parts of the river narrows. During a flood, or simply from persistent erosion, the river may breach the neck, carving a new, shorter channel. The old bend is abandoned and left behind as a crescent-shaped oxbow lake. This is how rivers rewrite their own maps, cutting, filling, and leaving behind wet signatures of their past paths. Why some rivers meander while others don't? Not all rivers curve the same way. The tendency to meander depends on a few key factors. Slope, gradient. Gentle slopes favor meanders because water moves slowly enough for deposition and erosion to compete. Steep mountain streams stay straight and fast, carving V-shaped valleys. Sediment load and bed material. Rivers carrying fine sediment across soft banks, silt and sand, are prone to lateral erosion and meandering. Channels cut into bedrock or coarse gravel are less flexible. Discharge variability. Rivers that swell and flood seasonally have more power to reshape banks and build point bars. Vegetation and bank strength. Plants stabilize banks and can either inhibit or guide meander migration. Human-made reinforcements, concrete, riprap, can lock a river into a straightened course, often with ecological consequences. Meanders as equilibrium. The river finds balance. Meandering is not chaos, it's a dynamic equilibrium. Rivers seek to balance the energy they carry with the sediment they transport. Too much energy and the channel deepens and cuts. Too little and it deposits widely and becomes braided. Meandering is a comfortable middle ground where a river efficiently transports sediment while dissipating energy through bends and floods. Human fingerprints and consequences. Humans often prefer straight lines. For navigation, flood control, and agriculture, we channelize rivers, cutting new straight sections, reinforcing banks, or building levees. That short-term control can increase flow speed, worsen downstream flooding, and starve wetlands of sediment. In many places, restoring meanders has become a conservation goal because meandering rivers support richer habitats, recharge groundwater, and slow floods naturally. The scale of time. Patience is a river's ally. One truth about rivers is their patience. Meanders are sculpted over years to centuries. The Mississippi's grand bends, for example, have migrated miles over human history. In a single flood season, a river can redraw a local stretch of bank, and over centuries, it can carve entire new floodplains. Watching a river is like watching a slow-motion film of the landscape reshaping itself.
Why this matters. Understanding why rivers curve helps us read the landscape's past and predict its future. It explains where fertile floodplain soils come from, why certain towns flood, and why old river channels hold gold, fossils, or rich organic soils. Rivers don't curve because they're lazy. They curve because bending is the most efficient, resilient, and natural way to carry water and sediment across a gentle landscape. In the next episode, we'll explore another mystery of our planet, one that challenges how we see the world around us. Stay curious. The world is far stranger and more fascinating than it first appears.